Start the morning right with a cup of Vinyl Tap. Nothing beats the refreshing taste of a hot, warm mug of Vinyl Tap. Enjoy your podcast in liquid form today. Vinyl Tap. Enjoy responsibly.
2, 1.
Vinyl Tap.
I'm
Tim.
Jason. And we just listened to a bunch of albums.
Did we?
Yeah.
Wow, crazy.
3 different ones.
Three
to be
different
precise.
albums.
Yeah.
That's unlike us.
Very unlike us.
We normally listen to no albums ever.
Yeah,
What are you
true.
talking about?
I only listen to playlists and singles.
I select a single song on Spotify that I want to listen to.
And then we listen to that 13 times.
Anyway, what was our theme this month?
Our theme was local bands, which I guess as an internet show where we have no firm location is a bit of a mystery.
Local bands Melbourne.
Yeah, local bands Melbourne.
So
Why do we make a mystery out of it? It's in the title.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Maybe you don't read the title.
Read the title.
I never learned how to read. Mrs. Krabappel.
3 local.
3.
Disputably local.
Okay,
where
no,
is
no,
your
no.
band from,
No, no, no,
Vinny?
no. So, to clarify, before we get into this, it was local bands.
Local
Local
artists
bands.
was the...
Not Melbourne bands.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, now, so my band, Beans, they're from Geelong.
Boys.
My boys, yeah. They're-
Geelong is a small city located, I don't know, 50 k's west of Melbourne.
Yeah, they're not
Something
that
like
far
that.
from Melbourne.
But they're not Melbourne.
Yeah, but they're still local.
Okay, so
right?
here
They're
we're going to
still
get into the
local.
semantics of what locality means.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Here we fucking
Well,
go.
so, okay, but this is the thing. To say that, because, Geelong, a lot of Geelong bands go to Melbourne because then they can access a larger audience base.
They're still
And-
a Geelong local band. What made you pick a band from Geelong rather than from Fremantle or America?
Well, because
If you're going to argue that,
because then how have you seen a lot of Geelong bands? Because
come to
they
Melbourne.
come to Melbourne often. It's like a regular thing.
Whereas
Yes,
a
but
band
they-
that's local to America doesn't come to Melbourne often.
It's still so an artist that tours the world and does that frequently, are they local at every spot they go to frequently?
but a Geelong band is going to play way more frequently
But
in
does-
Melbourne
but that
than
doesn't make them
somebody
local.
from
But
somebody
doesn't
from
make them
Sydney
Here's
would.
the thing, Habibi. You've described them several times already as a Geelong band.
Yeah, well, but that's to just emphasize that.
They're not from Melbourne.
No, but
Because
they're
they're not
close.
local.
Okay, so then what about if you're like a rural Victorian band?
Yeah, well,
So
then
who are you
if
local to? You're not local to anyone
No,
then.
if you're from Ballarat, you're a Ballarat band.
Or you're
That's
you're a Wangaratta band, or we have such
Shepparton
strange
band.
names.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no bands in Shepparton. You're a Mildura band.
I think that this is fucking stupid. No, because so basically, okay, so if you're not from Melbourne, then you're not a part of local music here.
No,
I'm on your side. I'm just stirring shit.
Yeah, but he's not. He's on the warpath.
I'm on a warpath.
So being in Geelong means that you're not a part of local music here.
That's not what I'm saying.
Yes, it is, because I'm saying that they're a local band, and that's why I picked them, and I'm defending that point. I haven't lost this challenge. I haven't lost
can't
this month.
afford to lose
I haven't lost this month of Vinyl Tap.
That's
Purely
not what I'm
based-
saying, because also Tim's footing is somewhat sketchy as well.
Again, local bands.
Yeah, local bands. Crowded House is a Melbourne band, and if I'm not hearing anything other than that. Crowded House is from Melbourne.
We never
they are a
mentioned
Melbourne band.
We never
Yes.
mentioned time specifically.
Yeah,
No. It's not the time that I have an issue with.
it's
That
that
is what I
two
was
of them were
expecting.
born in New Zealand.
And their music is
And
quite
by the way,
frequently classified as New Zealand music, and the Finn brothers have been given the New Zealand's highest award that they can for their
sure,
contribution.
that's great. And Tony Abbott's been made a knight of the British Empire. Does that mean? Oh, he was born in London. Anyway, Tim Finn, when you think about Crowded House as a whole, Tim Finn's not a part of it. It's Neil Finn's band. Tim Finn was just on Woodface.
Tim Finn is still a part
He's
of
not a
Crowded
part
House.
of Crowded House. No. And
Jason, you're just here to ruin everyone else's party.
and
Not at all.
Nick Seymour, Paul Hester, Mark Hart. These are all Melbourne fellas. And the band was
don't know if
fucking
they were.
founded down the street.
Sure, that I'm not disputing. I'm just trying to hash out here the fact that it could be viewed as not Australian music. Yes, they were founded here, and arguably they are a Melbourne band, but
Sorry, when you told me what this month's theme would be, it was local artists, and that to me means artists who are local to us.
sure.
And Crowded, like that mean like bands from Melbourne.
Okay,
does
so
that-
but by that stance, you can't be defending him.
Okay, but
and
this
be
is from
taking this.
my broader geopolitical stance that Geelong doesn't count. But so, like that it like in 20 years or so it will be Melbourne anyway.
Yeah, but that's not now.
But we've already established that time is in the straight here. So Habibi's stance is
Yeah,
that in
but
the
you
future.
don't know that. You are making assumptions there.
Okay, so wait, hang on. So you have to be born in Melbourne
No.
to be a Melbourne musician.
No.
Or you can create music in Melbourne, have a song that's inspired by a catchphrase that we all have here to define the city and its weather, and you're not Melbourne music because...
Here's the thing. I actually think Crowded House is Melbourne.
So then
and
why
does
are you
count,
arguing?
Because it's an argument that can be made about
Well,
it.
that's a stupid argument then. Give me your real heart and soul.
I think that Tim fits the criteria and that you don't.
Well, I
Is
think
the crux of
you're...
this.
I think you're just Geelongist.
Hang on, before we glaze everything over everything, Pseudo Mind Hive, absolutely, through and through.
Formed in Melbourne, they live in Melbourne,
Yeah.
they're a Melbourne band.
Okay. If it turned out that one of the members was from New Zealand and they became super famous and started touring the
then
world,
we have a conversation about, is it New Zealand music or is it
no,
Melbourne?
they're a Melbourne band, without doubt.
And again, I think that Crowded House are a Melbourne band.
Yeah.
I'm not actually advocating
And
that they're
you
not.
can't take that away from me.
Look, I don't think that... I'm not trying to say that Beans is a Melbourne band, because they're not, but
They are
think...
local.
I do think that they are local, because Geelong is... It's a sister city that's so close by, and like basically any band from Geelong is constantly playing in Melbourne.
There are people who live in Geelong and like work daily in Melbourne.
And I'd be willing to bet there are some bands who
I-
only play Melbourne, right? So like in terms of like the music scene, they
But
are
don't they put
local.
in their
Yeah, but
bio?
they-
No, they've put in their bio that they're erupting from the surf scene in Geelong.
That's what my point was going to be. It's to do with where they're identifying. More,
Sure,
isn't
but
it?
it's still local music because I can see them play here. Like, you know, like I can go
that's a good
15
point.
minutes from my house and go see them play.
Okay,
so that's local
if
music.
Childish Gambino comes over and
No,
plays.
but
a
they
band,
come-
But every show Beans plays, he can see.
Nearly every show. And in fact, if they are in Geelong, I could just go and see them and it would really not be that
But
difficult.
that's not local if you're travelling to Geelong then.
Oh, yeah, but then, okay,
Because theoretically, you could pick a band and follow them around everywhere on tour. That doesn't make them local to
yeah,
you just
but
because
like,
you follow them
but
around.
you're ignoring the unique Australian music scene here, like for Victoria, right, where there's so much distance and space between one another that like being in Geelong makes you essentially in the same music scene. Because if
As
you're
opposed to being in Adelaide or Sydney.
yeah, because if you're not like
Oh, as opposed to being in Adelaide or Sydney, sure.
I see, because I would disqualify like a New South Wales band as
Yeah, of
not being
course.
local, but a
Oh, so, but
Victorian band.
Mildura would be okay.
Well, the thing is, there are no, like, I've never heard of anyone coming out of
Okay,
Mildura.
but
Well, like, it
theoretically,
depends. I mean-
would you count them as a local band? Because then we're not really doing local, we're doing Victorian bands.
Well, is Victoria not local?
a locality.
When Victoria is the size that it is, and it's one of the smallest states in Australia, no.
But then,
Are you
like,
going to travel 4 hours to Mildura and say that that's a local gig?
No, but a band from Mildura might decide to travel to Melbourne to do all
4 hours.
to do all their
Yeah.
gigs, and then they're a local band because you'll see them at all the gigs.
So
They're
your
playing at all the
argument
venues.
is about like where they regularly perform.
Sure.
Because I still think that disqualifies a band branding as a Geelong band when there's a music scene down there for them to play.
That also
Okay.
counts out Crowded House because they toured the world and they are definitely a Melbourne band. So that criteria doesn't add up.
So then, at what point, if you live on one end of Melbourne from another, sometimes it can take you it can literally take 2.5 hours to get from
Yep.
one end of Melbourne to the other.
Big city.
Yes.
So, what if I live closer to Geelong than I do Melbourne?
You don't.
But
Okay,
just
no,
for
no,
the
no,
sake
I
of
get you,
argument,
yeah.
right? and then you're going, well, the band's from Melbourne, even though they're 3 hours away,
Well,
they're not
if you're
local.
going to-
If you live in Werribee, for example,
Yeah.
which is part
Right.
of Melbourne,
So,
but it's like 20 minutes from
If
Geelong.
you're going
Yeah.
to argue locale to yourself, this doesn't hold up at all because you don't live close to Geelong.
No, but this is what I'm trying to this is what I'm trying to say. Like, where does your stance in this argument lie? Because okay, if I'm in Werribee, that's part of Melbourne. So what band is local to me? Would you say that Geelong bands are local to me?
Is it
even though they're
It
technically?
depends. Are you frequenting Geelong more or are you frequenting Melbourne more?
I'm frequenting Werribee, and I go wherever I want, dude.
So, if you live in Werribee, a Geelong band might be local to you, but what about a band that comes from like Ringwood or Lilydale?
Well, they don't. They come from Melbourne.
But that's you choosing to be
Yeah, true.
more a part of the Geelong scene because it's where you have access to it easy as opposed to coming into the city.
Okay, cool. So we've established I'm going and I'm accessing something, and I'm going to a place because it's near me, and then I see bands there. So if I go to a place,
Stop, dude.
If
The
I-
mics will pick that.
oh, sorry, mics. Sorry, audience. I hope you like ASMR. So if I go to a venue and I see like a Geelong band that plays predominantly in Melbourne, even though they're from Geelong, that band isn't local to me.
I'm on your side and I'm with you, but in their bio, they describe themselves as coming from the Geelong scene.
Okay, sure, but that doesn't stop them from being local to us. Because local, for me, is like, it's easily accessible. I can see them regularly. I know that they're doing shows all around in Melbourne constantly.
The pandemic notwithstanding.
So, Beans blows up and starts touring the world.
That's a great sentence.
Yeah, Beans blows up. But they start touring the world.
Yeah.
So they're not every other weekend in Melbourne because they've got gig opportunities overseas. You can't access them easily anymore. Are they still a local band from Melbourne or are they from Geelong?
Well, are they an Australian band?
No. That's not the question.
That makes fucking
Well, okay.
Silverchair
Actually, you know what?
Wolf
They
Mother
are from
local.
Geelong. This is the point that I'm trying to make. They are from Geelong. But that doesn't stop them from being local right now.
Yeah,
at this
yeah.
point in time.
That's-
But my thing is, you're going to flip flop because if they blow up and are from around the world in the way that we're saying
Yeah.
Crowded House are from Melbourne, even though they were touring the world,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we would say that they are from Geelong and therefore not local to Melbourne.
The Beans Wikipedia article will list them as being from Geelong. Like, in the, like, certain future that they will acquire that most
And so
incredible
you can't-
status of having
you can't
their
have
own
your cake and
Wikipedia
eat it
state.
too. You can't be like, well, of course they're Geelong when they're big, but at this point be like, no, they're local to Melbourne because I can see them all the time.
Well, but you're crossing two different criteria because he's saying that they are from Geelong and also they are local because Geelong is local to Melbourne.
Yes.
No, but he's saying
I'm not
Geelong
saying that
is
they're local to
only-
Melbourne. They don't even say that in their
If you
fucking
two
bio.
get a divorce, do I get 2 Christmases?
Yes. So, no, because this is the thing. Like, I'm not saying that they're from Melbourne.
I know that. I'm not trying to insinuate that you are.
And maybe what I am
We're not
trying
going
to
to talk about anything else.
what I am trying to say
the
here
music.
is that I feel like Geelong is local to Melbourne. It's local music. So many Geelong bands are local music here
I
for
can-
us in Melbourne.
Completely disagree. like staunchly disagree
Oh fuck! I'm the tiebreaker.
because
no.
that is similar equivalent of lumping in Newcastle music scene with Sydney music scene.
That's not quite the same.
It's a very similar distance, and Newcastle is slightly larger than Geelong, but they are two distinct
I want my cake and I want to eat it too.
I
You
know
know
you
what?
do. I'm
just,
sorry.
Just give me both cake and
He
eat.
wants another piece of chocolate cake.
But they're
It's a reference to the Crowded House album.
they're like far enough
Thanks.
apart to have their own individual music scenes. They're not part of the one large scene that is together. Yes, they're proximity enough to play frequently within each other, but I don't think it counts as like local because they are from another.
Oh, fuck off. All right, whatever. So, out of you two, which one won this month the final tap?
Tim. That wasn't a question. That was my vote.
That's convenient because I also think that I brought my favorite album of the three. It's just stacked with many songs that I enjoy listening to, and I think that like the Pseudo Hive album that we listened to is more cohesive. It's a stronger like composition in total, but some of the slappers from Woodface are just too strong to pass up.
Yeah, how do I feel about Pseudo's got an aesthetic that's very like aesthetic, you know.
Oh,
very,
yeah?
It's very
When
stylized.
the aesthetic is aesthetic.
It's no,
When the
it's,
style is stylistic.
it's super stylized, but I think maybe there's room to, I don't know, develop it somehow. I don't know.
Pseudo aren't done maturing.
No, they're not, and it sort of didn't quite have like the polish that I don't know. Just like as a whole,
They're really good.
as a whole album
they-
experience, it's kind of, it was cool to get so much contrast and so much interest, and even though it was sort of like pretty top heavy, it kept me engaged right to the very end, you know.
Which one?
I've completely fucking forgotten the name. Tim's
Which
album.
band?
Crowded
Tim's
House.
Crowded House. Jesus. Well, you know what? They're an important Australian band that I never listened to.
Crimping
So
hammocks.
watch me forget their name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crowded House.
I did it.
Hooray! Do we have anything else we want to say about any of these?
Well, it'd be. I think it'd be a useful application of our time to discuss like what local music is, like what music in Melbourne means, why it's cool that we've listened to Melbourne music
Go on.
/ Geelong.
Go on.
Because, like, you know, everyone goes on about how, oh, Melbourne's the cultural, like, city of Australia. And, like, sure, probably. But, like, why? Why is it so cool here? When, like, you know, plenty of great bands have come out of, you know, Sydney, mainly. Them being, like, Wolf Mother, AC/DC. Jet are from here, aren't they? Or are they
I
Sydney?
don't know where Jet are
I
from.
can't remember.
I don't know, dude.
No one's listened to them in 10 years. So what is it about Melbourne? I think it's because we have such a vibrant night scene, just because of state legislature, where I think that's a bit harder to pull off in Sydney by comparison.
100% it is.
Yeah.
There's way less venues to perform at, which means you've either got like you've less bands competing, or you've got like sure maybe higher quality bands competing for the small space, but it
Yeah.
means that you don't encourage smaller acts to grow and build like niche scenes, and whereas there's so many different venues down here.
There's
And
always a show you can go to.
also
Pandemic
I think,
notwithstanding.
I think that for Melbourne as well, just the city is so accessible because it's centralized, which adds to being able to have like easy nightlife. It's not like little pockets like it is in Sydney. And also there's a big like just artistic kind of push down here that I think is more and more happening in Sydney, but traditionally has been very Melbourne based. And I'm talking about like
Art in
visual
general.
art,
Yeah.
the
Comedy.
graffiti, comedy,
Yeah.
Film.
people, from my experience, I don't want to like blanket code everyone, but people in Melbourne generally are wanting to go to sport, go to music, go to something all the time. Whereas in Sydney, like I said, you've got your little pocket that you're in, and that's obviously not everyone, but traditionally that's kind of the way it has been.
But if you want to be really big and successful, you have to be from Sydney, because otherwise you won't make it globally, or you won't make it huge.
Could be.
Do you have any thoughts to further that sentence?
Not really. I was just going to throw it out and see what happens.
It's because of Finding Nemo. America knows the Sydney Opera House, but they don't know anything from Melbourne, so so you have to be from Sydney.
Click above to find out what else we've listened to this month.
Click below to support the artist we just listened to.
And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode.